Hey everybody, Grifton here, and today we are discussing Serpentshrine Cavern loot. I'm going to go through all the possible bear tank loot and discussing how good it is. Also, I'll try to mention if an item is good for a cat, since you'll likely be a cat from time to time. Now, because of the different types of bear tanks, this is a bit subjective, so if I were you, I'd listen to the discussion and then based on your own priorities, choose the items you plan to go for. With that said, let's get started, and we're going to do all the tier loot first. The long and short of it is, the stats on the tier sets make them BIS for almost every style of bear. 3 drop from SSC and 2 from Tempest Keep. You're going to try to get all 5 pieces. However, I've added the set bonuses of the other 2 classes I think are worth looking at. The main reason is the Warrior. Tier 5 is their best bonus set and should be prior to the Warrior tank, especially if they're your main tank. Next I would go Bear Druid and the Holy Priest after that, as the Priest one does have nice stats but loses a little on throughput overall. Everyone else after that, in my opinion. Now that we have tier sets out of the way, let's talk about some SSC loot. So first up is Hydross, Shoulders of the Stranger. These are really nice. BIS for cat, BIS threat for bear, highly contested. You'll end up with tier 5 though, so it's only 4 stars because you might not be wearing these even if you get them. But if you can get it, definitely take it. You'll find a use for it somewhere. Ring of Lethality, 3 stars. BIS for cat, but so many other options for bears are out there. If you're a threat stacking bear that wears Goronas now, this is going to be a perfect upgrade for you. But I tend to use my rings for mitigation because it gives me more options at other places, which is why I gave it the 3 stars. Next up is Scarab of Displacement. 2 stars, really this is 1 star. However, this is a lot of defense, and if you chose not to go with resilience PvP pieces, this might be just what you're looking for. Though locking your trinket slot up with a defense only trinket isn't a great idea. Trinkets are a great place to quickly increase your threat on your gear. Also, the on use on this is useless. You shouldn't be relying on an on use for crit immunity and reduces your AP, so all in all, I think this is garbage, but again, if you need that defense, this might be what you're looking for. Next up is Band of Vile Aggression, 4 stars. Okay, now I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but this ring is kind of sick. If you look at most mitigation rings, they have 0 threat stats on them. It's usually armor, defense, and stamina. This ring is stamina, resilience, and attack power. So tempting. The 25 resilience is very nice for getting crit immune, especially if you aren't PvPing. On top of that, it does have attack power. I'd take this over almost any other ring, save maybe the Violet Signet, just because it's so well statted for mitigation, but it also has that extra attack power. Now 4 star might be a little high for you, but I really want this. But the extra bonus of this is nobody else probably wants this, so it's probably just going to fall into your lap anyway. I would take it, play with it, see how you like it, and fits in with the rest of your stats. Let's move on to Living Root of the Wild Heart, a true 1 star. Now, you're probably going to get this anyway because it is a Druid class trinket, and per usual, Druid class trinkets are garbage, and this is no exception. I would shard it. It's a weird item. It's essentially garbage if you have any decent trinkets, but if you're respeccing and you need something, even if you're respeccing Boomkin or Healer, this might be okay for you. It works for every class, which is nice. You can do 2 buffs at the same time if you shift a lot, but I don't think it's worth it in any sense. But if you got nothing else, this is a good thing. I don't know. I wish I could say better, but it's another garbage druid trinket. But that's everything for Hydross. Let's move on to the Lurker. So, Boots of Effortless Striking. 3 stars. Okay, first I want to say these are really good boots. However, there are 3 reasons you wouldn't take them. 1, you're a leather worker and you have boots of natural grace. 2, you went PvP and you're rocking the leather boots and you need that resilience there, so you're not going to swap it out. Or 3, you have edgewalkers, which with the hit makes them pretty close, and you get 2 sockets from edgewalkers as well, which allows for much more flexibility. If you have none of those, though, I would definitely grab these. They're good. We'll go on to Choker of Animalistic Fury. 2 stars. This is okay. For DPS, I'd go Vile Intent or the Ahoo neck over this for the hit. If you're hit cap, there's a neck in TK called Pendant of Mayhem. I think that's what it's called. I think it's got like a word in front of it. But as a tank, I'd go for that neck anyway. So I don't think I'd prioritize this at all. You also might be sporting the PvP neck, so it's irrelevant. All in all, this is likely a downgrade for you though. We're going to go on to Ancestral Ring of Conquest, 2 stars. Now rings, we've already had a couple, but rings are tricky because it all depends on what you're doing with them. This ring has no hit, no armor, no defense, no resilience. It's an okay threat piece with some decent stamina. It's not as good as shapeshifters, but if you're looking for a nice threat ring with some decent stamina, I could see you using this, but I'll probably be passing on this. Okay, the Seal of Danzler. Oh man, I gave this 3 stars. Another ring that's just weird. So this kind of reminds me of the Band of Vile Aggression we just talked about. This is a Panzerkin ring, but it can be useful for bears. So instead of attack power with resilience, which is rare, this one is also rare with a typical PvE defense ring. However, instead of defense, you're getting resilience and a random spell power added. I don't know. Now, if you haven't watched my resilience and defense video, you might not know that resilience gets you more crit immunity per point. So if you're on the edge of the cap, this could help by swapping it for another defense ring. The high armor could also help those people that are trying to be armor capped. Now, nobody's fighting you for this. Maybe a Moonkin that does a lot of PvP or wants to try the Panzerkin. If you don't know what a Panzerkin is, it's essentially a Moonkin or a Boomkin, whatever you call them, as the tank. The reason this kind of can work is because the Moonkin form gets the same armor bonus as the bear form. So they can get a ton of armor, and yeah, this is kind of a good trinket for, or sorry, a good ring for them. But most people don't actually try that. It's very mean. But yeah, that's everything for Lurker. Let's move on to Leotheras. So one item, very simple, Tsunami Talisman. 5 stars. I want this thing. It's essentially an hourglass with hit and boosted up a bit. This is a great threat piece, but it's highly contested. If you're going for a lot of hit, DFT is better, but taking this will depend on the style of tank you are, which trinkets you already have, and which trinkets you're actually going for. This is also a great pickup for cat DPS, so keep that in mind. If you're full PvP with tier 5 in every slot, your hit is likely going to be in the tank, no pun intended. So this would be a good help if you're trying to get some more hit. But that's the only item from Leotheras, so we're just going to go ahead and jump down to, I think it's pronounced Hydross. So there are 2 items here. The Bloodsea Brigand's Vest is first, 4 stars. This chest is sick. It's better than Conniver, and as a cat, you'd be putting this bis. However, reality is you're going to be wearing tier 5 as a bear, and other melee want this too. That being said, if you can get it, take it. I'm sure you can find some fun uses for it. Also, I want to point out while we're on the vest, this actually fits into a really cool looking set. I'll see if I can put it up on the screen. I'll probably throw it in there with the PvP mace just because it looks so cool. They all match. It looks badass. If I were a cat DPS, I would want to look like this. You look awesome. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack. Okay, so let's go on to Frayed Tether of the Drowned. This is a noose, by the way. 3 stars. First of all, what a weird neck. It's a noose. I mean, anyway, secondly, this is another one of those weird stat pieces. Great stamina and defense, and it has hit. Tanks are probably going to want this. I'll take this if I can get it, but there are other necks, so not a deal breaker if the prio goes to a different tank. If you're a no PvPer, this might be a great way for you to have your cake and eat it, where you'll get that defense you need, plus a little bit of threat on the piece. So keep that in mind. But that's everything for Carothras. I give up. So moving on to Morgrim. There's only 2 pieces here as well. Razor Scale Battle Cloak, 4 stars. This is bis if you're hit capped for cats. For bears, if you don't need the defense from Gilded Thorium, I'd grab this. Only 4 stars because its place in your priority is dependent on PvP gear and other pieces you currently already have. So I would take this if I can, but you might not be wearing it all the time. The other piece is Ring of Sundered Souls, 3 stars. This is a pure upgrade to Band of Impenetrable Defenses, which is a BOE. This, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it's the highest stamina defense ring currently in the game. Now, why does that matter? Well, armor doesn't matter on spells for a spell fight. So if you're wearing a pure defense ring, this would be the better choice over a high armor defense piece as it offers more health. But the ring choices are crazy, so don't stress if you don't get this. But that's it for Morgrim. Moving on to the last boss, Lady Vash. There's only 1 item here, and it's a big one. Belt of 100 Deaths, 5 stars. Get this. Stats are perfect, great threat, expertise, 2 gem slots that are great colors for bears. Highly contested. Fight for this one. It's so nice. That said, if you're relying on the PvP belt for resilience, you know what? Make room. This thing is just too good. If you get your hands on this, you're going to be wearing it. This is also another piece that matches the chest and other things like that. So keep it. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's just a belt, but still, keep that in mind. I don't know if it's going to win you any arguments, but anyway. Okay, so on to the trash, last but not least. There's 2 items. Pendant of the Perilous, 2 stars. Meh. It has okay stats. No hit, no defense, no resilience. It has decent attack power. Now, if you're not wearing anything from Kara, this is good. Most Kara necks are better, though, so... but the other item is Wild Fury Great Staff, 5 stars. Get this. You're losing hit from the Strangle Staff, but the amount of AP you gain makes it worth it. over 170 attack power, plus it has armor, which when you switch from the Earth Warden to the Strangle Staff, you lost all that armor, you're getting it all back. Plus, look at that stamina. It also comes with some dodge, which doesn't hurt. You're getting this first, simple as that. So that's all the loot I saw worth discussing in SSC. Please let me know if I missed something, or if you disagree with my ratings, and let me know what you think. I will be putting out SSC and TK guides very soon, as well as a Tempest Key loot video. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, as subscriptions are what allow me to keep making these videos. Thanks, and take care, guys.